friends, I'm Jana Eubank back with another scrapbooking process video. Today I am working with the November 2024 Hip Kits. This is the Mistletoe Memories collection and it is adorable. Now recently on their social media, I saw one of their design team members use this stitchable envelope die that's an add-on this in November, and they used it as a photo frame, and I thought, oh my gosh, what a cute idea. I have to do that. And so that is what I'm going to focus my layout on today. Now I did want my little stitchable envelope to have a frame around the opening. When you get the dies and you kind of wiggle them apart to the different pieces, you have the envelope die and then you have an optional frame that you can pop in and cut out that window on either side of the envelope. So you can actually use that envelope without the window. Now I did want to have a frame around the opening, so I just cut a piece of the Poinsettia red cardstock to the size of the opening or just a little bit bigger and cut that piece out separately. I then adhered the frame piece around the opening of the envelope that I had cut on the other pattern papers, just lining up those stitching holes. And then I actually used some embroidery floss from my stash in a green color to add a blanket stitch around that opening. So you have the little stitching holes that are already there, and you can choose to either whip stitch that, straight stitch it, but I thought a blanket stitch would be really fun since this is a layout about Christmas and I want it to have that cozy vibe, and so that blanket stitch does add that coziness there. Now there's another paper in the kit called Floral Fantasy, and this is a fussy cutter's dream. If you know me, you know I love to fussy cut. In fact, one of the first things I do when I receive my kit is I go through the pattern papers and I find the papers that I want to fussy cut. Of course, I always buy the pattern paper kit as well as the main kit because I like having two of each paper for this exact reason, so that I can fussy cut one side and then still have the pattern on the other side to play with. So I wanted to play with the florals on this layout. I love that they have that dark green background, so I chose a few to sprinkle about the page, and I chose to feature the ones that had more of the little roses. So I had the white rose towards the top, and then I'm using the red roses on the corners of each of the photos there. Now for my title, I went to the chipboard pieces that are in the embellishment kit, and I chose that blush title that says Joy, which is so pretty. I love these letters. They have the additional details printed on them, and they're just so pretty. That blush is so pretty with the colors in this kit. I like that we have our main photo there in that green and red, and then our smaller photos are kind of brightened up with the white papers that I chose. And now we're getting ready to just add in some additional embellishments. I'm just playing or kind of auditioning different pieces from the kits. I really loved that Santa oval piece, but I wasn't sure if I would use that next to the Joy or not. It had that wood grain feel to it, so I just didn't know if I wanted to bring that in. So I'm just playing with a few pieces, trying to decide which ones I like the best. While I'm looking through the cardstock die cuts, I find these two Nutcracker themed pieces. So I had the Nutcracker and then the ballerina from the Nutcracker, and I thought that was so cute. It might be really fun to add to the right side of the envelopes where the flap is open and they're kind of, there's a little place to embellish there. And I decided to go with those because in my bottom photo, there's the girls. So in my family, so I put the ballerina by the girls, and then I'll end up putting the Nutcracker by the boys in the top small photo. So I thought that was just a fun additional touch. So we'll go ahead and pop those up with some foam tape. I did trim off the legs of the Nutcracker just so I could tuck them in behind the flowers that I'd already adhered to that envelope, and that worked out really great. So super, super cute. Now next up, I'm going to be looking for some more embellishments for this page. As you saw, I was tucking in that Santa next to the Joy. I didn't know if I wanted something, next to the title. I was playing around with these ornament pieces. There's both ornament pieces in both the chipboard die cuts as well as the cardstock die cuts in the main kit. So I pulled those all out, and I thought it might be fun to sprinkle those or along the left edge of the page, but it just didn't feel quite right. So I bounced away from that for a minute. And now I'm looking for a phrase to underline the title. And while I was looking for that, I came across these two chipboard houses, and I just popped those in at the top of the page. It's Christmas Day, you're at home, you're being cozy. So I tried those at the top, and I actually really liked that, and those will end up staying. I like kind of the zigzag feel, the back and forth feel of the embellishments or the shape that's happening on this page with those houses over to the main photo, then over to the small photos. I think think that's a nice shape, so I'm going to stick with that. I'm still looking for a phrase to underline that main title to kind of help it stand out. I'm trying on a few colors, the lighter green, the cream piece, but it's just not popping for me yet. So I'm going to head on over to the Pocket Life kit. There's a bunch of cut apart phrases in that kit with different colors. And so I'm going to try a few of those and see if I like a different color better. So there were these phrases in this darker green, and I really liked that. I liked the way that that darker green tied into the dark green background of the Fussy cut florals. And so that is what I land on. So I go ahead and pick out or cut out 3 different phrases from the Pocket Life kit, and I'm going to sprinkle those around the page just so there's you have some repetitiveness, or what am I trying to, I guess a repeated element, I should say. I did use a lighter green one along with the dark green one at the bottom of the page, and I think that works out well and just kind of caps off the bottom. So I'm going to stick with those. I'm going to use some 1/8 inch foam strips to get those all popped up into place, and then we'll continue on with the design. This is the point I go back and see if there's any other little pieces that I want to sprinkle through. I did find these 2 chipboard hearts in the chipboard die cuts from the embellishment kit, and I decided to add those above the houses. There were a few more of those hearts, but I felt like at the top of the page was plenty, so I didn't add them anywhere else. Now, upon reviewing this page, I decided that I wanted to fill out the floral clusters a bit with the winter floral die set. So I'm going to pull those out along with the cardstock kit. I do cut the pine branches from both a lighter green and a darker green. This is the mistletoe and the spruce colors from the cardstock kit to try those on. You can see that I've tucked the lighter green ones in at the top of the page, but I went back and tried the darker green, and I like that a lot better. So I'm going to spend some time just die cutting several of these pine branches, and you'll see that I'm going to tuck these in here all around the page, all around the left edge, just kind of framing out all of the different clusters wherever you see the flowers. I'll come back in with some liquid glue and just dot that across the back to adhere those down. I don't adhere every little pine needle, right? Because I like to have a bit of dimension to it. You just need to be careful when you slide those in and out of a sheet protector that the pine needles don't get caught. I also wanted to, there's this little tiny red flower in the die set, and I decided to sprinkle those around the page as well. So I had a little scrap of the red cardstock left over from the center of the frame that I put around the envelope. So I just die cut as many of those little flowers as I could and sprinkled those about the page. I also use a liquid glue to adhere those, and I really like that. I think that's nice and cheerful and happy, and the mix of the fussy cut florals with the die cut florals just makes my creative heart happy. Now, finally, I wanted a little bit of shine on this page, and in the main kit, there are these pearlescent gold puffy stickers. There's some titles on here, there's some branches, but I opted to grab all of the sparkly type pieces that look like little Bethlehem stars or starbursts, I guess, and I'm going to sprinkle those around each of the different clusters around the page as well. So I'll take a minute to do that. I like the way that those add a bit of sparkle and shine. I mean, you need that during Christmas, right? Christmas is full of happiness and brightness and Christmas lights, so we're going to get some of that gold sparkle around the page as well. I believe I use all of the sparkle shapes, and then I also grab several of the dots and fill out or just fill in any empty little space around the page for that as well. So with that, these pearl stickers will finish off the design for this page. I do come back in with some handwritten journaling on the lines of the ledger paper on the background, and I will be adding that to the lower left-hand corner. Now, I did struggle with my journaling pen a bit. It's a little thicker black ink than I wanted, but I'm not going to stress over it. You know, that happens sometimes. I love the way this page turned out. Again, this is the November 2024 Hip Kits from Hip Kit Club, the Mistletoe Memories collection. It's gorgeous. I love the way this turned out. Go ahead and take a look at the detail shots coming up ahead, and I will be back soon. Thanks so much for watching. Merry Christmas.